April 8, 2020, and we will start the Board of Directors meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for Raul Cruz, who passed away this past month, please. May he rest in peace. Okay, roll call, please.
Mike Lally. Here. Bill Schifano. Here. Ken Jerome.
Here.
John Fricker.
Here.
Bill England. Here. Scott Harris. Here. Isabel Costanzo as absent.
Okay, good. So we have a quorum.
Yes.
Proof of notice, please.
Yes, it was properly noticed.
Open forum. Let me read. We got 3 things here. And if you guys want to say anything with the circumstances, feel free after we get done with these 3. This is my 2nd year visiting Pine Ridge with my friend Chet Workman. Your maintenance crew and gardeners do a fantastic job. So many varieties of shrubs and flowers, well manicured lawn is very pleasing and enjoyable while walking around the lake. Thankfully, Marjorie Dasha. Jolene Porter. If you live in a condo, are you allowed to sit under a shade tree to get some fresh air? I think that the whole deal is that as long as you're not grouped in a whole bunch of people, it's like walking around the lake, right? Is that what you would say? So you should be all right.
Yeah. You can play basketball by yourself, but you can't play a 5-on-5 game.
All right. Once the shelter-in-place order is removed, will the pool reopen, or is this incorrect? And we'll address that later on. Okay. So that takes care of Jolene. This other one I'm having trouble reading, but I'm going to, this is addressed to the Board of Directors and Eric. I am making an assumption that the cap of 5 attendees to tonight's board meeting is to maintain the cap of 10 or less people in a gathering with 6 feet between them. I had contacted Eric to discuss the proposed ban on gathering in common areas and its negative impact on condo owners that do not have outraged space. I'm encouraging you to enforce the same guidelines for outside space usage as those imposed for tonight's meeting. Safe distancing is a necessity for good mental health during this crisis. I do not believe this will in any way create a liability on the board's behalf, as they have responsibly closed down all gathering areas that they are in charge of. Please do not vote yes on the current proposed address violations of the current record database of professionals. 10 people, 6 feet apart. Respectfully submitted, Deb Caden.
I called her because I couldn't read that either.
Yeah.
And the gist of what you want to know is, can her and 1 or 2 other people talk outside, sit on a bench as long as they're 6 feet apart? And I said, that's going to be your own judgment. That's not going to be something the association does, but follow the guidelines. It's very important.
We're just trying to do the best we can on protecting you guys. And, you know, we're all responsible adults. We all have common sense, so just use it. Does anybody else have anything that they want to address tonight here? Yeah.
I'd like to know what the board's planning to do with what happened at 9650 the other night.
What is 9650? You mean the police were over there?
Yes, because
Well,
it's happening a lot, Ken.
We've addressed it, okay?
Well,
And we've got somebody that's saying one thing, somebody that's saying another thing. So My only recommendation is if you have a problem with somebody that you think is threatening you, you report it to the police, okay? The police decided, with the report, they decided there wasn't any substantiating evidence to do anything, okay? Because you got one person saying, he said that, the other person says she said that. So that's where we stand on that, okay? Anybody else?
We did get another complaint about speeding.
Speeding, okay.
That same building.
All right, so my suggestion on speeding is give us the guy's description on his car, his license plate or whatever, and we'll address it. Okay, I've already addressed this one speeding incident with the guy that got into it to the woman, okay? Anything else?
So
John?
again with the pool,
Yes,
so the pool's been closed, and we still have that problem on the bottom of the pool.
that's correct,
I know you wanna look for a reason to figure out what it is.
yeah.
All I can say is, I've seen it cleaned with a power washer while the water's been in it.
Right,
So you should, you know, take advantage of this time, drop the water down at least halfway, if not all the way, power wash it, it's not costing you any money. You have a maintenance guy that can power wash it, and then you just put the water back in. It's a very simple thing, and then you can see if it happens again next year where it gets the discoloration. You may have to change, you know, the rules for suntan and sunscreen going into there, because that's what I believe it is. So, you know, but there's no sense in just, you know, this is the greatest time to do this. If you had the money, I would tell you to redo the whole thing, because in 15 years, that's what you normally do every 15 years, you'll all be gone. We'll all be dead, there'll be somebody else. Why not get it taken care of now while you have this, you know, I don't think it's gonna open until June 1st, to tell you the truth. So why would we wait 2 whole months and not have it taken care of? We already had one guy play volleyball.
So speak up, you can.
speak up. All right.
So we already had one guy cut his foot out there in the pool from the rough edges that they've been telling you about from before I got here. You know, it should be at least, you know, power wash it, get somebody down there to just, you know, sand those sharp edges down so that people don't get cut and have to go to the hospital.
You know anything about sharp edges? That's the first time I heard that about John, sharp edges.
No, there's been issues with the bottom of the pool out near where the drain line is, when in the deep end. Everybody playing volleyball has felt it on numerous occasions, and the one person who did cut their foot on it as they were going forward, literally twice had to go to convenient care because he's on blood thinner, and we were cleaning blood.
So when he
all over.
cut his foot, what did he do? Did he put a work order in? Did he go to Eric? Did he go to what?
No,
I mean,
he
this is the
cut-
first time I'm hearing about
Okay,
this.
so obviously, maybe it's not been mentioned before, which is hard for me to believe because everybody has complained about
News
it.
to me.
That's why we kept saying we wanted the pool taken care of.
Well, I can understand the
But-
discoloration.
But it is an issue. Everyone has complained about the sharp edges on the
Yeah, see, this is
bottom
the
of
first
the
time we're hearing
pool.
about it.
You've been in the pool
No,
and
I've been in
probably
the
have
pool,
heard
this is the first time
about
I'm hearing about it.
it. Okay, so I'm
No.
making that complaint right now.
All right, that's
So-
fine, well, then write a work order. But John, to answer your question, we're not just sitting on this. We know we have an envelope of time, and we're looking into it, and we're trying to identify it, and then we'll get it clean. And I think that what we're shooting for right now is to have the pool ready to open up May 1st, which it might not happen, but, you know, that's what we're shooting for.
See, but you're running the filter every day. If you had somebody in there, get in there with a pressure washer and just
We're not saying we're not gonna do it.
run it
We're not-
through
We're
there.
taking care of it,
We're not saying
John.
we're not gonna do
We're
it.
taking care of it.
We're not saying-
We're going to the pool people and we're getting the information from the pool people. We're not just not doing anything.
We're not just.
But I wanna
gonna
get the
bar a guy,
root
though.
cause of this thing because I don't want it to come back
Well,
in a year.
It's gonna.
And I
end up-
explained that to you
You would
before.
have to change the rules on sunscreen and suntan.
Well, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know what's causing it.
I'm telling you what's causing it.
Well, how do you know?
Well, I had a pool before, Kenny.
Yeah, I had a pool
don't-
too.
I don't ice skate in
And I never had this in the
Kalamazoo.
bottom of my pool.
I don't ice skate in Kalamazoo. So what I'm telling you is,
Yeah.
I brought this up 3 months ago about getting somebody in there with a pressure washer. Nothing's
Right.
happened.
That's correct, yeah.
So,
Okay, well, we didn't want to do anything about it at that time because we wasn't budgeted for it. But now that we have the opportunity with the pool being closed down, we're looking into it. So I think you gotta be patient with us,
Yeah, it's
okay?
not always-
We're not gonna just forget about it. We're trying to be proactive with it. Because we know that people want it clean, and I agree, it doesn't look good. And it seems like it started at this end at first, and then within a year it was at that end. So I don't know what's causing it, we're trying to identify it.
It was here before I got here, so,
Yeah,
been
that's
there
right,
for a long
and that's 2 years.
Been there
yeah.
for a long time.
So all I can say is we're looking at it, we're trying to get it resolved, and we'll make sure that that pool is opened up May 1st, even though you might not be able to swim in it May 1st. Okay, anybody else? Okay. And then the other thing is, I wish that if you have something happen in the pool, like somebody cuts themselves on the bottom, you know, don't assume everybody knows about it, because I play volleyball and that's the first time I've heard about it. So you gotta write the work order, or get with Eric, or get with somebody on the board of directors. Now, Michelle
Because the first I
is
heard about
taking
that
care
was
of it
2 weeks
right
ago
now.
when we talked.
So, you know, we're not mind readers here. Thank you, Michelle.
Hey, anytime.
You're the best, you know that?
Anytime.
Donna,
Anytime.
I had called you up personally about what goes on the weekends. It seems in the weekends, when there is nobody here watching, there's a lot of parties, gatherings, closeness. I'm coming home from shopping and people are like right on top of each other, not only on their patios, and I understand they could do that with their family, but right out on the common areas. Twice I made remarks, come on guys, you're not, separate a little bit. Oh, we're separated. Like it was a big joke. So, you know what? Something's gotta be done. I don't know what could be done. We can't be police,
well, it's a,
We're gonna talk about
but I like my life.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it. And you do have a responsibility, being on the safety committee, to report stuff like that. You're trying to be conscientious, and I appreciate that. So, you know, I think that, when we first closed the pool down, everybody didn't like what was going on. They thought it was, maybe we're being overreacting to it. But now we're here, we're 2 weeks down the line, and it looks like maybe that was a pretty good decision. And
Yes.
especially, you want to tell everybody about what happened with the other pool in the community somewhere else where they opened the pool up?
I was told today by a resident that has friends that live over in Colonial Country Club, one of the associations in there had their pool open still, and they're having parties similar to what we had going on at the pool, and the police actually came yesterday and ended that. So I don't know if anyone got in trouble or not, but typically they give you a warning. If they do it again, they'll be in a lot of trouble.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go on then. Reading and approval of the previous meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
Do we have a second? Do we have a discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Managers report, please, Eric.
Okay. First thing, I want to say that Pamela is back. Welcome back to her. I don't know if you guys have called in, you've spoken to her on the phone, but we're happy to have her back. We're doing our best with the COVID-19. That's going to be on the agenda, and I think Kenny's going to talk more about it, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it and touch on what Donna was saying, what can we do, what can the community do? What can the community do? That's one of the first things the board asked me. We asked residents to reduce visitors such as guests and contractors. We will conduct meetings through phone and teleconferencing, or limit the attendance, or just cancel or postpone them altogether like we've done with a lot of the social events, unfortunately. And the last thing is the thing that we never want to do is close common areas such as the clubhouse and the pool, which I never thought we would do, ever. Getting to Donna, what can residents do? Because it's got to be a team effort. Closing the pool, the reason we do that is to not create a magnet to attract gatherings, facilitate gatherings. But stay at least 6 feet apart, we all know that, especially in enclosed spaces like elevators or corridors, like in the hallways, if you're in the condos. You can go outside, get fresh air, exercise, but maintain a safe distance between others. It doesn't mean, they call it social distancing, it's really physical distancing. You can still socialize, you can be physically distant. Leave home for necessary medical appointments, testing, essential resources, wipe down any surfaces you come into contact with, disinfect your hands, avoid touching your face. We all know that. And then wear a face mask if you're sick. We're saying now wear a face mask anyway. See, most of the people are doing that. Office hours. The office has been open still, but we ask you to email or call rather than face-to-face, just to protect everybody. Talking about some maintenance projects that we're looking into because we have the opportunity to do them, like what John was referring to. We're looking into several different things. The thing that we have to balance is the uncertainty with the financial markets, and we could be going into another recession. We want to maintain the dues, and a lot of these projects are not budgeted for. So we're really watching the discretionary spending on the operating side. The reserve side, that money's earmarked for these projects. So like painting, roofing, that stuff doesn't necessarily matter. But the operating side is where we can actually have an impact on the dues moving forward, and we want to make sure that we don't lose that advantage that we have of keeping the dues the same or very close to the same every year. Painting continues. They're about 85 or 90% done painting. A couple weeks ago, they redid the stucco wall cap on the exit side. It was damaged for a long time, very bad, and they did a nice job on that. We've got a punch list of items, people that have called, you know, they missed a spot here, this and that, and we'll be walking through and addressing those items soon. We finished refurbishing the dock. It still needs to be painted, and that will happen over the next week or two. The lake, we've revised the chemical treatments to use a more environmentally friendly mix. We're going to see, hopefully it works just as effectively as the old mix, and it'll be better for the overall health of the lake. Last week we had our fire alarms inspection. The alarms have been inspected. There's a list of deficiencies, nothing major, but for the 13 buildings, about $1,500 worth of repairs that need to be made. And then we also had the fire extinguishers serviced, and some of them recharged when they needed. But fortunately on the alarms, which can sometimes be costly, we don't have any major repairs. And last thing I was going to say, again, social distancing. In this room, everybody's 6 feet apart. If you're going to have any type of gathering like that, please try and stay pretty much what we're doing here. Thank you.
Eric, let me ask you a question about the dock refurbishing. The guy did a really good job.
Yeah.
But like up north, when we use treated lumber, they always tell you wait a year before you paint it. But maybe down here, you can do it sooner with the sun. So is that, are we taking that into consideration?
Yeah, I've always been told as long as you let it dry out effectively, you can paint it.
Okay.
We're actually going to stain that, not paint it.
Right, yeah, same thing. Okay, treasurer's report. Scott?
Yeah.
Okay,
You want me to read it?
yeah, go ahead and read it.
The association remains on budget. We have not had any unexpected expenditures this month. Balance statements for our accountant will be delayed. The meeting's a little early this month. We are awaiting corrections to previous statements. The Schedule 2 reserve reports have been incomplete, as well as some minor details. Informally, I would speculate that Myers and Bretholz are having difficulty reconciling reports than they expected under the new accounting regulations related to the reserve funds and liabilities. The government has changed the way reserves are recorded, where it's no longer an asset, it's a liability. We have to change over all of our books with that, and that's what Scott was talking about. We will continue to track our accounts internally. If COVID-19 work from home guidelines continue for what we consider an excessive length of time, we could generate summaries of these reports on our own. Financial documentation is always available for review. Scott Harris.
Okay, thank you, Scott and Eric. Okay, the manager's report. First of all, President's report, I'm sorry. First of all, when I made the announcement that we were going to shut the pool down 2 weeks ago, it was a board of directors vote, and I might have been a little bit cross with everybody. It wasn't the best day of my life to shut that pool down, but I gotta say I'm sorry that maybe I got a little mad when people questioned me, so I'm sorry. We will address Pine Ridge response to the COVID-19 pandemic later on in the agenda. Presently, Lee County has 476 confirmed cases and 12 deaths. Now, I was looking at this 5 days ago, and it was 289 and 10 deaths. So when we look at the cases in Lee County, we've increased in 5 days, 65%. So Lee County's not looking real good, and I'm hoping we get over the hump, but that just reinforces that, you know, keep your distance. They're even saying don't even go shopping this week. So, a word to the wise. It's important, as ever, to follow the guidelines from the state of Florida and Pine Ridge Management. Many residents are asking for relief from our recommendations, which would only sidestep the safety measures put in place to protect our total community. We're getting people asking, well, can we just open it up for 10 people? My husband needs some therapy, can I pay you to open up the pool? No, we gotta keep the pool closed, we gotta keep the amenities closed, because we're trying to protect the people. So please reread the recommendations from the state of Florida and Pine Ridge Management and adhere to them and use common sense. Social distances is what will keep you healthy and out of harm's way. Based on the stay-at-home order by the state of Florida effective 3/3/2020, it looks like all amenities at Pine Ridge will remain shut down until we receive positive movement. My guess is that that it's not going to open up until May 1st, at the earliest. The board of directors will monitor the state and local situations weekly and open things up at the appropriate time. Our number one concern is your safety. Is he saying anything?
No, I think that's okay.
I would like to thank the Amenities Committee and Eric for installing the colored lights on the lake fountain. The multiple colored illumination is quite a show. You have to look at it. I think you'd be impressed. So if you haven't looked at it, go out. It's really nice. And we are trying to identify the root cause of the stains in the pool. As soon as this is done, we will take appropriate action to clean the stain. We do not want to spend $2,000 and have the same problem in a year. So please be patient. We will have the pool available to everyone when this stay in place is suspended. Thanks to Scott and Eric, we're applying for a paycheck protection program, which could bring us $30,000. So we're trying to get our money from the state and federal government, so it could be beneficial to Pine Ridge. Okay, that's for the president's report.
And going back to the pool, just to add, our lawyer sent us a very strong recommendation about liability in that with the pool. And we have that available if you guys want to see it. And lists all the reasons why.
Okay, good. Committee reports, we'll start on this end. Mike, Architectural Committee.
Architectural Committee, the only thing I want to say is that some people have been doing things that should have gone through Eric or the Architectural Committee guideline booklet, and they need to check with Eric or that booklet and make sure that what they're doing is allowed by the condominium association. And one person let someone talk them into putting a flat roof on one of their screen cages after they'd already given them the estimate for the pitched roof, and we caught them, or someone caught them, and they had to go back and change it and do it the right way. So we need to make sure that that stuff is, mostly it's done to match your neighbors, because they want to keep everything consistent for property values.
And what happened with that one, you want to make sure you get what you paid for also. What happened with that was we approved the right design, and then they built this other design because they talked them into it while they were there. But you got to build what we actually approve and sign.
What happened was White, who's a very good contractor, he does a lot of lanais in here, he's got great windows, he got the job from this individual. Well, he's busy, I guess, so he subcontracts it out to some contractor comes in, he doesn't know the guidelines, and he thinks there's an easy way to put a flat roof in instead of a gable roof, and he does it because he asked the owner, is that going to be all right? And the poor owner said, well, as long as it meets our criteria. Well, He didn't give a damn. So I told the owner, make sure they don't try to charge you for that, which they didn't. So you gotta be aware of that. The guy might be a real reliable guy, but if he subcontracts it out, you don't know what you're gonna get, so. All right, anything else, Mike?
No.
Okay, John?
Previously at the monthly report, we had a discussion that we'd be getting together with the groups as far as the rules and regulations. And with the issues that we've been going through with the knowledge and the distance that we're supposed to be keeping, we're rather hesitant to really get started with that. And so we're gonna have to hold off a little bit, but I don't know that that's gonna be done or not. And I think, were you working on that then too? Yeah.
I have no knowledge of it. Nobody's approached me on it.
And that's one of the reasons why we haven't approached anybody on it, because we don't want to have a bunch of people together on this.
Who are you discussing this with?
So far, it was the basic group that was here 2 years ago. We
Years
did
ago?
too. Big pardon?
2 years ago?
Yeah. It's been that long. We haven't done anything with it during all that time. And we didn't really need to. Now we're starting to think, well, we probably should have, and then this crazy thing came up. So we're kind of holding off doing anything right now.
Anything else, John?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, Eric?
For Scott, I think the landscape committee appreciates the nice card of gardening.
Okay. Bill?
Nothing.
The only thing I had was, I turned in a work order to have the lights installed out there in the, picnic area, there's the area there behind the pool.
Oh.
Pool there. People have been requesting additional lighting in there, and, it's gonna be done, probably later in the year before it gets done.
Okay, good.
No congregation.
Anything else, Bill?
That's all.
Okay, what were you saying?
I said there's no congregating, so why would he want to?
Well, and this has been going on, this was a request a long time ago, so he's just trying to get it done. You know, we had a tree that had nice lights on it, and unfortunately, the tree got cut down or damaged, and then went the lights, so the ambiance was gone. So they were just asking us to, you know, do another tree, so you had the same thing. So, okay, is that it on the committee reports? Yeah, sure.
Why is it?
Okay.
Scott said that the bougainvillea that we have planted on the east side of the lake are in full bloom. Yeah. And all the meetings are canceled.
Okay, good. All right, one thing I'm requesting everybody, if you run into anybody, you know, that couldn't go to the meeting tonight, because this is pretty typical of what we had last month. We didn't restrict anybody last time, and we ended up with about 10 people. But let the people know that if they get onto YouTube, Pine Ridge Condominiums, Board of Directors meeting, for this date, they can see what went on, what transpired tonight. So if you would help us out on that one, okay? I watched it myself, and I was critiquing myself, and I decided I do a lot of things up here I shouldn't be doing, so. All right, so, old business update of Pine Ridge response to COVID-19, and let me read this to you. Stay-at-home order, emergency powers for community associations. Community associations on COVID-19 have, over the past several days, many people have questioned on how the condominium association must respond to COVID-19, as well as the many federal, state, and local orders related to the virus. Below, we'll briefly address some of the most common questions. What does the statewide stay-at-home emergency order mean for associations? Governor DeSantis issued a statewide stay-at-home order effective at midnight on April 2nd, 2020. The order requires all persons to stay at home unless their job provides essential services or unless they engage in essential activities. The list of essential services is lengthy, but relative to the association, it includes contractors, trades that provide services necessary for maintaining safety, sanitation, and essential operations of residents and structures. This includes landscaping and pool care. Property management is not expressly listed, but in our opinion, it is essential service as it is necessary to maintain and operate the association. So Eric, you're not off the hook, buddy. How does a Florida state of emergency affect how my association operates? Initially, there are some debates as to whether the emergency powers statutes apply to the current environment. However, the Division of Business and Professional Regulations have issued emergency orders 2020-04 for the condominiums, cooperatives, and homeowners associations governed by the state statute, Chapter 7, 18, 19, and 20. It provides that while the Florida statutes on emergency powers were drafted in response to physical damage to property, such as with a hurricane, the statutory emergency powers have the same applications under the state of emergency. Therefore, the association may operate with emergency powers under the Florida statute and your governing documents. What are the emergency powers? Florida statutes provide that the association may schedule board meetings with less than the required notice, which is like 3 days, right? Is that 3 days?
48 hours.
48 hours. The association may also close portions of the association property and prohibit a limited access to the community by guests, tenants, vendors, and others if necessary. The association may take such action as is reasonable and necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the association members, residents, and guests. Will the association close a portion of the association's property? Yes, under the Florida statute. Emergency powers. Pine Ridge can and has closed all the common areas. The common areas are frequently used in a manner which violates social distancing or gathering guidelines, therefore must remain closed. This includes the pool, spa, and all other indoor and outdoor areas. The association on-site management office will be open limited hours, and office visits will be limited to only necessary occupants. All businesses should be conducted via phone and email for the time being. We will not prevent access to the units or homes, so common hallways, foyers, stairways, and the likes must remain open. Miami-Dade County has ordered all common amenities be closed until further notice. This has not yet occurred in any Southwest Florida county, but it is quite possible this will occur in the near future. What happens if somebody in the community tests positive for COVID-19? This is a difficult question that raises several issues. The association will not be actively inquiring about the medical status of residents or guests. However, if the association acquires actual knowledge that someone has tested positive to COVID-19, we will notify all owners. However, we must keep the address and identity of the individual confidential. The association is committed to taking all appropriate precautions to comply with social distancing, limited gatherings, and with increased cleaning of common areas. Will the association continue to collect assessments? Yes. Without assessments income, the association will be unable to provide basic services to the owners and residents. For this reason, the association will continue to aggressively pursue collection of assessments. Our strong collection strategy begins when an account first becomes delinquent. This strategy has helped us reduce the amount of bad debt to almost nothing and maintain our dues at a reasonable level for year to year. It has also helped owners who become delinquent to structure their income and debt so that they can make payments or other arrangements to resolve it quickly. Ensuring assessments are collected now will help insulate the association from any further pause in collection. However, if a person requests relief from paying assessment, the association will provide relief from late dues and interest through 4/30/2020 for your second quarter 2020 assessment.
So basically what that says is if you're having financial trouble, instead of being late after the first, we're gonna give you till the 1st of May before we assess the late fee.
Okay, the other thing that we have on the update is owners are encouraged not to attend the meetings in person due to the coronavirus. Questions can be submitted prior to the meeting, and it will be broadcast on YouTube the following day for you to review at your convenience. No community parties or get-togethers are allowed in and around common areas until the situation with COVID-19 normalizes and the stay-at-home order has been lifted. So like what Donna said, you know, what you do in the privacy of your own limited common area is your own business. You know, use your common sense, but if you're out in a common area, it's really our responsibility to make sure that you have social distance and you don't have groups of more than 5 or 10.
It's supposed to be 10, but you can really keep it to 11.
Okay. New business. Discuss hurricane season. Do you want to address that?
Well, we've got we call it a disaster plan. It's not so much a disaster plan as a contact list, and it tells you a little bit about what the association's plans would be, who our vendors are for critical things, and the board members also. If something were to happen, if there was a horrible hurricane and there was no way for me to get here to do whatever we need to do, or for Kenny to be here, or whomever, the names and numbers of the people that we have lined up to do these jobs, and then along with the board members and managers' information. So that's the most critical part. We like to couple this with the magazine that the news will put out that tells people the supplies and things, the maps for the hurricane season. That's not out yet. We have some from last year, but we're going to get the current one, so that'll be coming out shortly.
So we just want to make sure everybody's in place for the hurricane season, which starts June 1st. God forbid we get a hurricane in the middle of this thing, but you never know. Eric had, and I think everybody got a copy of this. Did you leave copies for everybody? Yeah. Okay, so, and this is like a forecast. And what they're saying is that some states are going to be peaked at 410, like Michigan 410, they're saying Florida 5.3. I don't know where they get that information from, but that's information for you guys to digest however you want it. But I think that this is a whole thing that we have to look at week by week and see what happens. So.
I think this is a random number generator.
Yeah, it might be.
Florida's a couple of weeks behind other states, is basically what they're saying there.
See, like some states, like Michigan, they shut down the state right off the bat. You know, because we're smart people. And then Florida waited. New York, I don't know, what did New York do? Oh, yeah, New York.
Well, that's de Blasio's fault.
Yeah, we'll blame it on the mayor. Okay, do we have any questions at the end of our
Yes.
meeting? Patrick?
You said you're looking into the root cause of the pool situation. And I'm not challenging or anything, I mean, that's just my own edification. What are you doing to find that? I mean, is there?
Well, we had one guy come in and we got another guy coming in to try to evaluate it.
Have they given you any info?
We've tried different chemicals in there to see if it would attack it. Anything else?
Got one estimate. The guy doesn't know what it is, but it's like a mineral deposit is what they call it. Same thing the health department's called it.
They've seen this thing before? Or?
Not necessarily. I mean, they've
No.
seen spots on the bottom of pools, but they don't know what this exactly is. It's not. You have the pool inspected by the health department twice a year, and that spot has been there at least probably as long as I've worked here, but we noticed it, I think 6 or 7 years ago. And I've even pointed it out to them, like, what is that? Are we in trouble for this? Like, trying to get some information. And they're not worried about it at all, which is
Just aesthetic. Yeah.
interesting, because they write us up with the smallest little thing wrong otherwise, so, it's mainly cosmetic. What I'm told is acid washing the bottom of the pool will work, and it'll probably come back in a couple of years, but it should work, and that's basically the information that we got from the first company, and that's who normally does our pool work.
It would just seem to me, not knowing anything about it, that it would seem that if it's not in a lot of different pools, it's something particular to this.
That's why we're worried it might come back.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
maybe something from the way
That's
the
what-
concrete was poured or something.
exactly right. Like, what happens, like, we did an overlay on the walking path, or if you do an overlay on the streets, where there's that alligator crack, if you don't mill underneath and totally remove everything, the cracking shows right up through. We were worried that this would come right back, like, it's a mineral deposit that's there. So, we'd like to get some assurances before we spend money, but the board will ultimately make the decision.
You, continuing that, do you have any idea, draining the pool, taking, or power washing or whatever, something, what the timetable that would be, 2, 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks?
Not sure how long it would take. I know it costs about $2,000 to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it shouldn't take too long, but perhaps a week,
Volleyball players will pay for it.
if I was guessing.
Let me ask you a question. You're a pretty smart guy,
Yeah.
I think.
You talking to me?
Yeah, you. If you got a swimming pool, let's put it in perspective. Say the guy wants $1,000 to get this stain out of your swimming pool. You'd like assurance that it ain't gonna come back next year, wouldn't you?
Sure.
And that's the way I feel about it, you know? I hate that stain, but I wanna make sure it doesn't come back, that's all.
I mean, it does seem like it is, like you've mentioned, it's gotten worse.
I think it's growing,
Yeah.
I can remember when you went to the deep end, it wasn't there, it was over here. It was probably those damn volleyball players that caused it. But I don't know, you know? Some people say it could be the suntan lotion, it could be the shoes that they wear, I just don't know. That's why we're going to experts to find
And then
out.
somebody says people walking down to the pool in their water shoes and then going in the pool with the tar from the asphalt.
There'd be a lot of people doing that for it to be that much.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, these are the
Yeah.
types of ideas
Yeah.
that people throw out there. yeah.
And I don't remember, you know, I've been here since '94, you know, on and off, and I don't remember that, but maybe I didn't notice it, you know? I mean, I don't know how many people come to the pool and don't notice it. I know the volleyball people have all noticed it.
No, most people think it's sand and dirt on the bottom.
You just don't know, you know?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it apparently bothers the people and we want to take care of it. Anybody else? John?
So on the backside of the lake, wherever these flowers are, you have a collapse that's coming into the pool, and it's gonna end up taking away part of your blacktop if you don't go over and put some new riprap over there,
On which side?
on the backside.
On the back side, you mean on the east side of the
Yep.
lake?
Yep,
And there's, what's?
there's a slide that came down, something
Oh,
slid all
yeah,
down.
erosion?
Erosion, and that's gonna undermine your blacktop if you don't do
Okay.
something with it.
Maybe you can show me where that is exactly.
And like I said, everything else is that if you see something wrong, put a work order in. Because we don't see it, I didn't see it, I walked the path, so. You know, we're all paying for this, so let's make sure we get it fixed. Was that the president calling you? Anybody else? Yes.
What about some of these light sockets around the pool? There are no bulbs in it.
The lights, you mean the lights?
Yeah, the floodlights and stuff, you know, the accent lighting
In the
How about
pool?
around the lake?
around the lake, I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, around the lake.
Yes, like especially down there on the north end.
So we've got some lights that are out.
Oh, we got a lot.
Okay. See, we didn't notice that. Did you notice that there was lights out there? We
no lights in sockets.
We drove the path,
Those are, I think,
but we haven't done it in a couple
I
of
don't-
months.
I don't think those sockets, I think those are old sockets,
Yeah.
I don't think they work necessarily.
So are we gonna fix them or take them out or?
Fix them or take them out, would be the next.
And like I said, if you see something that doesn't look right to you, put the work order in so you can communicate it to him. Yes.
So I saw somebody out, going out the front way, there's been no lights there, inside the gate for a long time. I saw people out there the other night messing with the lights, and it was dark out.
Messing with the lights along.
Well, it looked like they were trying to
Along
put light
Lakeside
bulbs
Club
and stuff
Boulevard?
in there, yeah.
You mean the overhead lights?
No, the ones that shine up onto the trees.
Oh, you mean
Those
on the
have been
Middle
out for a
Drive?
year now, yeah, so.
And somebody was screwing with them?
I saw somebody out there, there was 2 people out there. I don't know if they were trying to put in bulbs or whatever they were doing.
What are you doing, Robert?
Have we had any work orders on that stuff?
Yeah, Bruce was talking to you a little bit about it.
All right, so he's on it.
Only go for the big ones, not for the small.
Anybody else? Anybody on the board here got a question? Oh, yeah.
So again, we're having that problem with that individual that drives her car out the front gate, parks out there, and then puts her paperwork on the windows. So, you know,
You should call the police when you see that.
Are you talking about the lady that lives on Sailview?
yeah,
No.
No,
Oh,
no.
you mean we got another one?
That's the one you're talking about.
Even,
Huh?
That's the one you're talking about.
It's your sister?
Yeah.
One that called me a Nazi the other night.
So she does come in with them on, and she takes them off right in the middle of the road before she parks.
She does take them off, though, that's good.
She takes one.
What is she doing, John?
She's pulling out the front gate, Ken, and you can watch her. Last night I was coming into public, she's waving at everybody as we're coming in. And she puts the sign on the back of her car saying something about elderly people being,
Yeah.
and she does it right outside the front gate, so she,
Come on, we can't do
Yeah, she was handing out flyers the
You
other
have to
night,
call,
but I
you
didn't
have to call the
stop.
police and
Yeah.
tell them there's this lady spreading propaganda. I think right now they're not putting up with any.
And she was handing out flyers the other night?
I didn't take it, I didn't stop.
Yeah, I heard that she was handing out flyers a week or 2 ago. I wanted to see what the flyer said, but nobody had the flyer,
Yeah.
so.
I don't think anyone's
The
taken it.
board can't give her a cease and desist order on that?
We've done it all, you know, short of suing her and get her out of here, which is very expensive. The lawyer advises the people who are impacted to.
She already scared one couple out of their own condo unit over there. They moved because of her.
The one that she was banging on the door?
Yes.
Banging on my door, I'm gonna call the cops.
Well, that's what we suggested. And then you get enough reports, maybe we could do something about it. But her children, was it children that were contacted? They don't want anything to do
We
with
called
it.
her kids, we called the cops.
Yeah, so.
And then, hey, Karen, then you got that guy that lives over here that's speeding through the complex.
Yeah, and I spoke to him yesterday. Not that anything's gonna happen.
We had a
Exactly.
complaint today.
Yeah, wait, all right.
Is he a really short guy?
oh yeah.
Yeah, your buddy, you know your buddy?
Listen to Will Chamberlain sitting over there.
Hey,
I-
I'm 5'6".
I think what we
On a good
need
day.
to do is, have the Rules and Regulation Committee go visit him.
He come through there last night.
We a body body.
All right, anybody else? Okay, somebody wanna make a motion to close this meeting?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Vote, yes?
Yes.
Any negative? No?